everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Danielle Warren. I love all things travel. Today's video is a little highlight video from my experience in Xochimilco, just kind of explaining the experience. So if you are new to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. It would mean so much to me. With that said, let's jump into my experience in Xochimilco. Xochimilco, which means where the flowers grow, is basically like the Venice of Mexico. Known for its ancient system of canals, it has become a very popular tourist attraction for the party-like atmosphere and unique experience floating through the main canal on very colorful wooden flat-bottom boats called trajineras. The boats are moved through the canals by a person steering and pushing the boat with a long pole. The actual experience of floating up and back on the canal takes about 1 to 2 hours, and there's a flat rate per boat, not per person. The cost is 500 pesos per hour, which is about 25 to 26 US dollars per hour. The boats fit up to around 18 people, so if your party is small, you can always try to share a boat with other groups. When I visited, I booked with a tour company, so the cost was a part of the group tour expense and included several other stops along the way, making it a full day experience. The best time to go to Xochimilco is when it is most crowded and touristy, which is on the weekends. I would imagine the energy of a crowded canal full of people having their own little party as they float through the canals would be the most exciting to experience. It just becomes one big fiesta on the water. Now when I went, it was actually a weekday, so it was a little calmer. There was still mariachi bands and groups out there, but there was, if you'll notice in the video, that there actually weren't as many people on the water. My day in Xochimilco started with a bright and early wake-up call. I woke up super early and headed to the Hotel NH in Mexico City to pick up my tour bus that I was taking. There's a lot of different tour groups that you can take to go to a lot of, the really popular places in Mexico City. So this was just one particular one, but there's a lot of different buses that go all over the place for tours. The one that I went, I had to walk to Hotel NH. We left from there, I believe we picked up another group over at the Palacio de Bellas Artes. This tour included a ton of different stops. So the first stop was to an artisan who made all these really cool jewelry and metalwork and all that kind of stuff. And he did a little demonstration, and we got a little souvenir and stuff like that. And they had coffee, complimentary coffee or shots of tequila. I think the coffee was instant coffee, so it wasn't even that good. But I did indulge in a shot of tequila for breakfast. That was a little interesting, but hey, when in Mexico, right? And not only did we get to see him do a little bit of the work, but it was kind of cool because he's the guy who created the Heart of the Ocean for the movie Titanic. So that was kind of neat. After that, we headed over to the University of Mexico City. It is actually the largest university, I believe, in Latin America. It's very hard to get into. 10% of people actually get into the university because it's very competitive to get in, but it's very large. And it was started in the 1920s and was located in Mexico City, and then in the 1950s they moved it to this other location. So we were looking at some of the artwork and stuff around the university, which was really cool. After the university, we headed over to Xochimilco. The tour was a full day of a tour. I will try to post either in the description or on the screen below the exact times of when we left, when we got there, the different things that we did. The particular tour that I took went to not only Xochimilco, but also went to Coyacán, which is the town where Frida Kahlo lived. And so I got to also tour Frida Kahlo's house and walk around Coyacán and, get a really awesome churro and this amazing smoothie while I was there, but I digress. Okay, so when we got to Xochimilco, we were welcomed by some really cool entertainment. these guys climbed up into this tower, and then and they had like a guy playing the flute or something, and then eventually they started hanging upside down and swinging, and they just gradually swung all the way to the ground. And then of course you tip them at the end of that. So that was kind of our welcome to Xochimilco. Then we headed over to the boats.
It's like a taco with
We got to climb onto the boats. There was like these long boats with a table right in the center and benches. So you sit down in the boat, and then they kind of maneuver you through the other boats. It was very interesting.
A todas las quesadillas les ponemos queso.
Oh, wow. It's another fountain. I think another fountain 4 hours and a half.
So those are four and a half in and out. Oh, 4 in and 4 out.
The way that they serve you food was pretty neat. They have other boats that are like food boats and drink boats, and they come and float next to you or behind you, and you order your food. They cook it on their boats that are they're like attached to you for a while, and they cook right there on the boat and then serve you your food on the boat.
Hola, ¿quieren maíz? ¿Quieren corn?
Got a margarita and some rice, and pretty soon some chicken quesadillas.
It's very common.
Then there was a drink boat that came up and got us drinks. You don't pay for anything until the end, so that was also interesting, because it was like, I was amazed that they even could keep track of who got what and how much they owed. But anyway, they did. They had like beers and margaritas, and then there were a lot of vendors on the water. The mariachi bands come up, and you can pay a certain amount of pesos for one song. And then they're known for their flower headbands. There was this guy that had all these different flower headbands on his boat, and so because I was there and I have 2 daughters, I was like, I've got to get them each a flower headband from Xochimilco. So I got them 2 of those, and they had different types of headbands for different prices. I think I paid about, it was probably $5, 5 American dollars for each headband, so like 100 pesos or something like that. We're on a boat in Xochimilco having lunch and margaritas or whatever drink you want to get. And so, and there's a lot of different vendors that will come up and sell little, flower headbands and drinks, and there's mariachi bands that will play a song for you. You just, pay them like 150 pesos or something. I got a couple of hair bands for my girls, so I thought that would be a super fun. My girls love headbands, and those are so fun, so they'll love those. But I'm going solo today because my dad wanted to rest, so I'm just kind of hanging out today, and but I really didn't want to miss this tour and this experience. I'm just gonna try to capture as much of this as I can, take it back to my dad so he can see it. We got to go all the way down the river, came all the way back. You get to see other people's parties going on their little boats. Our guide said that on the weekends, the whole canal is just full of boats. It's like one big party, like there's just boats everywhere. So it was a little more low-key. Today there wasn't nearly as many boats, but there's just so many, and so it'll just fill up. They'll fill up the whole canal with all these boats, and people eat and drink, and I was with a bunch of people I didn't know, so it was interesting just kind of getting to know people around me and taking in the ambiance. It's definitely something that would be more fun if you were there with a group of people that you knew. Like, it would have been really cool to be there with a bunch of people I knew, but it's okay. That was my experience on this particular trip. It was still super cool and super fun, and I got lots of pictures and videos. After we got back off of the boat, we had about like a 20-minute break to use the restroom, shop. There were a lot of vendors there selling all kinds of stuff. So shop, walk around, and then so we've got about, I think, 15-20 minutes. I'm gonna go to the restroom really quick, I think, before we go. And then we've got about a 40-minute drive to Coyacán from here. And then we'll have like 2 hours to do the museum there, and then, you know, grab a coffee or churro or something like that, just hang out. And then I think we're supposed to be arriving back in Mexico City at our pickup locations at like 5:30 or something. So. And then we got back on our bus. So this was our third stop. We got back on our bus, headed to Coyacán. When we got to Coyacán, we did a quick tour of like the town square, and then we had quite a bit of free time to grab some food, walk around. We made it to Coyacán. It actually means the place of the coyotes. So there's a fountain back here with coyotes on it. Beautiful. There's a lot of really beautiful little squares and town centers. Our guide was saying that Coyacán and Xochimilco and a lot of those other little towns used to not be a part of Mexico City, so that's why they kind of have their little town squares and town kind of little central areas, because it was its own unique town. So. Then we met to tour Frida Kahlo's home, which was really incredible. I wasn't allowed to take video in there, but I did take a lot of pictures. A lot of times in Mexico, if you want to take videos or pictures in particular places, you do have to have a sticker or something. You pay to be able to take photos and videos. So I did pay. It wasn't a lot of money or anything, but I did make sure I was able to pay so I could at least take some pictures. But videos were not permitted in there, so I did not take any videos. But it was really cool to see her home, and it was beautiful. The architecture was really neat, and they had a lot of, you know, the history of her life in there, and very fascinating. What a life full of grief for her with her health issues and all of her injuries, but how incredibly resourceful and strong and influential she was. So that was a really cool historical experience to see her home. of Frida Kahlo's home, we headed back to Mexico City, another long drive. When you're doing tours from Mexico City, there are some tours that it takes a while to get places, so I always take stuff to do on the bus. I had my phone, so I could do a lot of things on my phone. Always take an external charger though, because you will run your phone battery out. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for my Xochimilco and Coyacán experience and tour. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, I would love for you to like it. If you're not subscribed yet to my channel, please subscribe. It would truly mean the world to me. Thanks again so much, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.